The city glows beneath us, 1,000 lights pretending to be stars. I stand on this rooftop because I can't sit still anymore, because the cafe downstairs felt too small for what's building in my chest. The wind pulls at my hair, and I taste salt, though I'm not sure if it's from the air or from me. I'm not beautiful like you expected. The words fall out before I can stop them. They hang there between us, ugly and true. He doesn't move, doesn't rush to fill the silence with something comfortable. The city hums below, traffic and voices and life continuing without pause. Then he speaks, and his voice is so quiet I almost miss it. You're perfect. 2 words. That's all. But they land like a stone in still water, and I feel the ripples everywhere. I turn to face him, searching for the lie, the pity, the performance. But his eyes are steady, and I realize I'm shaking. This morning started like any other. That's the thing about days that break you. They begin ordinary. I woke up, showered, stood in front of the mirror under bathroom lighting that shows everything you'd rather not see. The dress I'd planned to wear looked wrong. Not the dress's fault. Fit yesterday. But today my body felt like a stranger's, and when I finally left the apartment, I was already carrying weight. The train platform. That's where I saw the advertisement. A woman's face, flawless, massive, selling something I didn't need. I looked at her, looked at my reflection in the train window. The comparison was automatic, involuntary, vicious. At work, Maya from accounting stopped by my desk. You look tired, she said, smiling, meaning well. But I heard you look bad. I spent my lunch break in the bathroom, trying to fix something I couldn't name. I almost canceled on him. Almost sent a text with some excuse about deadlines or headaches. But we'd rescheduled twice already, and I could hear how that would sound. So I went. It was only coffee. I could manage coffee. We met 6 months ago at a friend's dinner party. One of those cramped apartment gatherings where everyone's too loud and the wine flows too fast. He sat across from me, barely spoke, but when he did, he asked real questions. Not what do you do, but what do you think about? It disarmed me. I deflected with jokes, played it safe, assumed his quietness meant he wasn't interested. I was wrong about that. I was wrong about a lot of things. There were other moments. A group outing to a gallery where he stood beside me in front of a painting and said nothing, but I felt his attention like heat. A late night when everyone else had left the bar, and we talked until the staff stacked chairs around us. He listened the way most people don't, like he was collecting my words, holding them carefully. I mistook that for politeness, for friendship. I never considered he might be falling. The cafe was warm when I arrived, golden light and the smell of roasted beans. He was already there, sitting by the window, and when he saw me his whole face changed. That smile. God, that smile. It made me feel worse, somehow, like I was accepting something under false pretenses. We talked about nothing. Work deadlines, the weather turning cold, a movie he'd seen. I performed the version of me that asks for no follow-up questions, the one that takes up minimal space. But my mind kept wandering to the woman on the train platform, to Maya's comment, to the way my dress still didn't feel right. Then she walked past our table. Tall, elegant, wearing confidence like perfume. I watched her leave and felt something in me collapse. He noticed. Of course he noticed. Are you okay? Such a simple question. But answering it honestly would mean opening a door I'd kept bolted shut. So I smiled, changed the subject, asked about his weekend plans. He let it go, but I saw something flicker in his eyes. Disappointment, maybe, or recognition. We left the cafe as the sun was setting. That brief window when everything turns blue and the city holds its breath. We walked side by side, not touching, the space between us charged with things unsaid. My heels clicked on wet pavement, and I focused on that sound, on anything but the pressure building in my throat. If you're watching this and you've ever felt like you're not enough, hit that subscribe button. You're not alone in this. Promise. Are you okay? He asked again. This time I couldn't deflect. I don't know, I said, and my voice cracked on the last word. He stopped walking. We were near his building, one of those old converted warehouses with roof access that shouldn't be legal but is. Come on. he said, and led me up 4 flights of narrow stairs to a door that opened onto sky. The rooftop was bare. No furniture, no plants, just concrete and the city spreading out forever. I walked to the edge, looked down at people moving through their lives, so small from up here, so certain of their destinations. The wind was stronger now, colder, and I welcomed it. Pain I could name felt better than the kind I couldn't. He stood beside me, waiting, not pushing, just present. And maybe that's what did it. The fact that he gave me room to choose. I'm not beautiful like you expected. There. I said it. The truth I'd been carrying since I saw his face light up in the cafe. Since I realized someone like him could never want someone like me. Not really, not once he saw me clearly in all my ordinary, unremarkable reality. The silence stretched. I prepared for the denial, the reassurance that would somehow make it worse. But when he spoke, it wasn't what I expected. You're perfect. I laughed. Actually laughed. Sharp and bitter. Perfect isn't real. Perfect is airbrushed and filtered and performed. Perfect is the woman who walked past us in the cafe. I'm just whole, he finished. You're whole. As you are. Not posed. Not fixed. Not performing. I turned to look at him. Really look. And his expression was so open it hurt. You don't understand, I said. All day I've been collecting evidence. The mirror this morning. The ad on the train. My coworker's comment. The woman in the cafe. Every single thing telling me I don't measure up. To what? He asked quietly. The question stopped me. To what? To some impossible standard I'd internalized so young I couldn't remember its origin? To images created by teams of professionals and passed off as reality? To other women who were also probably fighting their own versions of this war. Do you want to know what I see when I look at you? He asked. No, I said immediately, because I knew it couldn't be true whatever he was about to say. It would be kind and well-meaning, and ultimately a lie designed to make me feel better. But he told me anyway. Last month, that work event at the museum. You were talking to that older man, the donor, and he was being condescending, explaining your own field back to you. I watched you handle it with grace, then turn to me after and make one perfect joke that cut right through his pretension. You were radiant, not because of what you were wearing or how you'd done your hair, because of the intelligence in your eyes, the way you refused to diminish yourself for his comfort, the kindness underneath your frustration. I felt something crack in my chest. Not breaking. Opening. That's one moment, I said, but my voice was smaller now. There are hundreds more. The way you listen to people like their words matter. How you laugh, really laugh, with your whole body. The morning you brought coffee to everyone in the office because you noticed we were all struggling. The night you sat with me when I got bad news and didn't try to fix it. Just stayed. You think beauty is about meeting some standard, but you've already surpassed it by being undeniably yourself. I don't feel like that, I whispered. I feel lacking. Every single day, I feel like I'm not enough. I know, he said, and there was pain in his voice. I've watched you shrink yourself. Apologize for taking up space. I've wanted to tell you for months, but I didn't know if you'd hear it. If you'd let yourself believe that someone could see you clearly and choose you anyway. The word choose echoed in my mind. Not settle for. Not tolerate. Choose. Actively want. Why? I asked. Why me? You could have anyone. Because I don't want anyone, he said simply. I want you. The real you, not some imagined ideal. I want the woman who gets anxious before presentations and practices jokes in the mirror. I want the person who cries at sad commercials and pretends she's not. I want every complicated, contradictory, perfectly imperfect part of you. I was crying now, really crying, and I didn't try to hide it. What if I can't believe it? What if tomorrow I see another ad? Another woman? And all this doubt comes back. Then tomorrow I'll tell you again, he said. And the day after that. As many times as it takes. Not to convince you I'm right, but to hold space for you while you figure out what you believe about yourself. The city pulsed below us. Somewhere a siren wailed. A helicopter passed overhead, spotlight sweeping. Ordinary sounds of ordinary life, but up here on this rooftop, something fundamental was shifting. I've spent so long looking at myself through other people's eyes, I said, measuring myself against images that aren't even real. I don't know how to stop. Start small, he suggested. Start with one true thing. I thought about it, searched through the noise for something solid. I'm a good friend, I said finally. When people need me, I show up. Yes, he said. What else? I'm smart. I work hard. I care about doing things right. Keep going. I hesitated. I'm trying. Every day, I'm trying to be better, to do better, even when it's hard, even when I feel like I'm failing. He took my hand. His palm was warm against mine, solid, real. That's not nothing, he said. That's everything. Leave a comment below telling me one true thing about yourself. One thing you know even when everything else feels uncertain. I'll read every single one. We stood there as the night deepened, as the city lights grew brighter against the dark. I didn't suddenly feel beautiful. I didn't suddenly believe I was worthy of his attention. But I felt something else. Possibility. A door opening to a different way of seeing. Walk me home, I asked finally. He nodded, squeezed my hand once, and led me back toward the stairs. We descended in silence, emerged onto the street where people hurried past, wrapped in their own stories. We walked slowly, in no rush to arrive. We passed a shop window, and I caught my reflection. For once, I didn't immediately catalog my flaws. I just looked, saw a woman with windswept hair and tear-stained cheeks, walking beside someone who chose her. Not despite anything, just because. It wasn't a transformation. It wasn't a cure. Tomorrow the doubts would return because that's how these things work. The world would keep selling impossible standards. Comparisons would rise up unbidden. The mirror would still show every imperfection in harsh detail. But tonight, someone had said the words out loud, had reflected back to me a version of myself I'd never let myself believe in. And maybe that was enough to start with. A seed planted in rocky soil, something small but alive. We reached my building. I turned to face him under the streetlight, and for the first time all day, I felt steady. Thank you, I said, for seeing me, for saying it. Thank you for letting me, he replied. Inside my apartment, I went through my evening routine, removed my makeup under the soft lamplight. Not as a statement, not as a declaration of natural beauty. Just as routine, just as life continuing. I looked at my bare face in the mirror, and instead of listing flaws, I thought about what he'd said. Whole, as I am. I'm not an expectation. I'm not a standard to be met or an ideal to be reached. I'm a person, complicated and contradictory, carrying both wounds and strength. Tonight someone said it out loud. Tomorrow I'll work on saying it to myself. And maybe that's the real story. Not about the person who loves you, though that matters, but about learning to recognize your own worth, to stop measuring yourself against illusions, to claim space in the world without apology. Perfect isn't real, but whole is, human is, enough is, and maybe, just maybe, I'm starting to believe that includes me. If the story helped you, if you've ever felt what I felt, hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs to hear these words. Subscribe to this channel for more honest stories about being human in a world that constantly tells us we're not enough. Drop a comment telling me how you're learning to see yourself differently. We're all in this together, figuring it out one day at a time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. You're perfect too.